Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of What's Going On. I'm your host, Pastor Akin Bandele. Good evening, good evening. We are ready tonight. It's been a minute since I saw all of you all. I've been traveling, I've been on vacation, and I'm finally back home to be able to come live with you tonight. I miss all of you. I missed you for the past 2 or 3 weeks now. But welcome to our program tonight. We've got a lot of things to talk about tonight. And mainly, we're going to be talking about election 2024, presidential election 2024. Man, it's be an up and down roller coaster experience with the news and all of that. But we're going to be talking about all that tonight. So feel free to join us, share the video. If you are watching us on YouTube, go ahead and make sure you subscribe to our channel. We appreciate that. We thank you for being our friend. And also press that notification bell so that when we come live, you will be notified. I want to thank you for just being there for us and for being our partner. Many of you support our YouTube channel. I see comments sometimes that you will click comments and donate 99 cents, $1, $5. We thank you. We thank you. It's helping us. And also our subscribers are growing. We have over, I believe, over 30,000 right now. So we thank the Lord for everybody that has been able to subscribe to our channel and joining us. And also, if you are watching us on Facebook, make sure you be our friend, be my friend on Facebook, and you can catch our services, you can catch my Bible study, you can catch what's going on and all that. We just thank you for being part of our extended family. We appreciate all of you. Well, it's been crazy. We have probably about 89 days to election day, presidential election day in the United States of America. Well, just a background. Many of you know our current president, Joe Biden, was actually running against Biden is incumbent, and the former President Trump is also the candidate on the other side, the Republican, and the Democrats, Joe Biden. They have debated, and after their first debate, things didn't go too well. As many of you already know, if you've been watching the news, if you've been looking at TikTok and YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, you will have heard the news that the first debate did not go well for our current president, Joe Biden. And mostly because of his age. Because of his age, it seems like it's a little bit slower now than it was 4 years ago, or when it was in the White House with former President Barack Obama. When he was the vice president, it was sharper then. But because of age, it's over 80, and things just kind of slowed down, and we understand. He has done well for the United States of America as a president. He has done very well as a vice president with President Barack Obama. He did very well. So we appreciate President Joe Biden for his service to the United States of America, his long-term service. And but about 3 weeks ago, after the pushback from the Democrats, he was encouraged to step out and back out of the campaign, and for him not to be the top of the ticket. Well, because of the way funds are set up for campaign funds, they couldn't just pick another person in the party, because that person will have to raise funds for himself or herself for campaigning, and then you're talking about just 3 months to election. So our vice president, our current vice president, Kamala Harris, Madam Kamala Harris, is now the top of the ticket. So she is now the top of the ticket, and she's running for the president of the United States. Now she's running against former President Donald Trump. So that is where we are tonight. Well, in 3 weeks, she has actually raised a lot of money. The momentum is great. She's speaking, in some of the states. But tonight, I want to bring in just regular citizens of America, people that are not in politics. I have 2 guests tonight. My beautiful wife, Lady Betty Bandelli, will be joining us. And also one of our ministers at New Covenant, Minister Yolanda Ford, who is the director of our children ministry. She also going to be joining me tonight. So we're going to have a good dialogue tonight. Well, welcome, Lady Betty. Welcome, Minister Ford. How are you all doing tonight?
Doing amazing, Pastor. Thank you so much for having us.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Lady Betty, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Pastor. Looking forward to this conversation on tonight.
Lady Betty is already laughing away. Well, you all kind of heard my monologue. Currently, it is Trump against Harris. Okay, so election 2024, presidential election, is going to be between the former president, Donald Trump, and our current vice president, Madam Kamala Harris. Well, what do you all think? And I'm going to start with Lady Betty. What do you think about the switch from President Joe Biden being the top of the ticket, and now, because of age and because of some of the Democrats thinking that he's not strong enough, and they thank him for his service, and they switch to Kamala Harris being at the top of the ticket? Lady Betty, what do you think about that?
Well, I would think that it's a normal response because she was vice president to ask her to be elected as president. So I think that's what's normal. That is what should have been done.
Well, I mean, it's not really automatic, Lady Betty. It's not supposed to be automatic. Literally, the Democrats as a party will have to, decide who they want to run. Just because she's the vice president does not make it automatic for her to be the top of the ticket. But basically what happened is, again, because of, if you heard my preliminary, they could have picked anybody, any governor, any senator, any congressman to run if they are strong enough. But because of the time frame that they had, and also because of finances, campaign finances, you cannot take the money that's already raised for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and give it to another candidate. And that will create a lot of problems getting money for campaigning for that new candidate. So it was a smart move in a way, because now the money that was allocated for Biden-Harris ticket still stays with that ticket. So she has, the day she was picked to be the top of the ticket, she all the money that was already campaign funds for Joe Biden and Harris. And then she raised some funds herself in the millions. So that is why. Just to clarify that, it's not automatic for a vice president to be the top of the ticket just because the president dropped out. Let me go to Minister Ford.
Wait, let me just complete.
Hold on. Just hold on. I'll come back to you. Just hold on, please. Minister Ford, what do you think about that?
I think that I totally agree with Lady Betty. I think it was a very wise decision, in that one of the mockery that the society was doing was really making a mockery of Biden. They showed a clip of him actually trying to put on his coat, And with him trying to put on his coat, he was warring with his coat. He was struggling with just trying to put on his coat. So it really allowed the people to not have faith in reference to him staying in that position. So I think it was very wise in order to do that switch, with them still having the same core values to be able to stand still for the American people.
All right, Lady Betty, your comment that you wanted to make. Go ahead.
Yes. The reason why I say that is because if anything otherwise would have happened to President Biden, she would have been the next person in line to become the president. So that's why I said that he made a wise decision, because that is who was next in line if something had happened to him.
Okay, all right. Well, with the election the way it is now, there are some people that say they don't like a woman being on top of the ticket. There are some people that felt like, Vice President Kamala Harris is not qualified to be the president, which it doesn't make sense to me, like Lady Betty said. If something had happened to President Biden, she would have been the president anyway, automatically, because she's the vice president. If something happened to both of them, then the Speaker of the House will be the president. Is the third, in place. That's the way it goes. The president, the vice president, and then the Speaker of the House. So, with the ticket the way it is now, there's a lot of momentum for Vice President Kamala Harris. And but if you look at the polls, because after the first debate, it was really, 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 really bad. Okay. But now, since Kamala Harris is now the top of the ticket, the national poll, the national poll is currently 48% for Harris and 45% for former President Donald Trump. In Arizona right now, literally in Arizona, for Kamala Harris, 45%, for President Trump, 46%. So President Trump is 1.1% up in Arizona. In Georgia, Vice President Kamala Harris, 46%. President Trump, 47%. So Trump is 1%, higher. In Montana, Kamala Harris is 40%, and former President Donald Trump is 55%. That's a 15% spread lead right there. Look at Wisconsin. Kamala Harris, 48%, Donald Trump, 47%. So Kamala Harris is about 0.8% ahead in Wisconsin. This is all polls from today. And in Florida, we have 41% for Kamala Harris, 48% for Donald Trump. So that's 7.7 points is ahead in Florida. In Michigan, Kamala Harris is up 1.7%, 46% to 44%. In Minnesota, Kamala Harris is 7%, 49% in Minnesota and 42% for former President Trump. In Nevada, 2.3-point lead for Trump. In New Mexico, 7% lead for Kamala Harris. New York, 14% lead for Kamala Harris. North Carolina, 2.5% lead for Donald Trump. And it goes on and on. But national average right now is 48% for Kamala Harris and 45% for Donald Trump. This race is tight. I'm not going to, Lady Betty, how do you feel about a woman being at the top of the ticket?
That's a good question, Pastor. I feel like she was put in this place I'm not certain that she was supposed to be in this place, but she was put in that position.
What do you
And
mean? Hold on, hold on.
because
What do you mean by that? She's not supposed to be in this place. What
I
do you mean?
said I'm not certain that she is, not that she's not supposed to, but I'm not certain, right?
You're not certain about what?
That she should have been put in this position. This is my opinion. It's
Okay,
not a
okay,
fact, but
okay.
you're asking me, and so I'm responding.
So
Okay.
again, I'm going to ask you the question again. How do you feel about a woman leading the country?
Okay. I've never known a woman to lead the country. Never.
To lead the United States
Yes.
of America. Because
yes.
if
This
you notice,
country.
one of the best countries in the world right now, especially during COVID, was led by a woman prime minister. I forgot the name of the country now. She was able to get rid of COVID in a couple of weeks. Wow, we fought COVID for 2.5 years. Anyway, Minister Ford, what do you think about a woman being elected as president of the United States? Do you think the country is ready?
Oh, absolutely. We were ready. We were ready 20 years ago, right? And I say that only because a lot of people get stuck up on, to me, minute stuff. And I say minute because we're not even a war. The war that's going on that you just mentioned about the stats has nothing to do with sex. It has to do basically with standards, right? And what one person is standing for versus another. So when you ask that question in reference to her leading based upon the core values that she's coming forth with, absolutely she's ready. Absolutely, we are ready as a country because we're ready for a change. We're ready. And I don't want to get too deep past what you want to say, but when you think about this, though, as far as you've got one party that's talking about taking us back to how it used to be according to their views, right? Taking us back to a place how they used to be in control of certain situations, being in control of being dominant, whatever they say goes. And then you have another party, which is Kamala Harris, which basically is saying we're not going back. So when you ask that question, her viewpoint is you're not going to take us back into that point of just allowing us just to be able to be doormats, doing whatever you want us to say. But we have another party that wants to take us there. So absolutely she's ready, but it has nothing to do with her sex. It has to do with her capability, her knowledge, her level. She's been actually a prosecutor for 36 years dealing with the public. So with that being said, is she ready? Absolutely, she's ready.
She was a DA.
Absolutely.
She was an attorney
Absolutely.
general of a state.
Absolutely.
And then the vice president of the United States.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So are we ready? Absolutely, Pastor. We are ready. And we're ready for a change. We're ready for people to stop coming in with this dictatorship that wants to basically tell you what you can and can't do, and how they want to just come in and really destroy, I'm going to say, democracy, right? I mean, you just got a war. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't matter whether she was man, woman. It doesn't even matter. It's not even about her sex. It's about her capability.
Well, let's look at what is on the, and I'm going to take a little bit right now. Do you, I'm going to ask each one of you this question. And I'm going to start with Lady Betty. What is on the agenda that you know of for the Republicans, and then the agenda that you know of for the Democrats that will help you to make a decision who to vote for? Are you knowledgeable enough about their agenda? And I'm asking both of you this question. Are you knowledgeable enough about what is former President Trump, running on, and what is Kamala Harris running on? Do you know? And if you know, can you tell us, each one of you? I'm asking the question to both of you. Lady Betty first.
Okay, Pastor. I hope that I'm allowed to speak and complete my voice. Okay. What I know is, number one is both of them can speak a good conversation. Both of them can. And I know whenever somebody is wanting to be in office, they will say what they think that the people want to hear. So I hear President Trump saying some of the things about what he will not allow going on in the country with the immigrants. Okay, I heard what he said about a woman's right about abortions. I also heard how he feels about men with men and women with women. And I also heard about
sexuality. Okay.
yes, Kamala, the things that she wants. Okay, going back to she was put in a position because President Biden had voted her as vice president. So he set her
No,
in that
she was picked and then
by him.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Yes. So she was picked by him. So she was put in a position that she's in. When I said that I'm not certain whether she should be there or not, sometimes you could be put in a position that you don't belong in, no matter how well you are qualified for that position. What I'm saying is because most of my people that hear me know that I go by the word of God. And men look at certain things about individuals, what they're capable of doing, and God will take somebody totally different and put them in that position.
Okay. Minister Ford? Oh,
Yeah,
Minister Ford, yes.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with what Lady Betty just indicated. The way I'm looking at it, Pastor, you have pros and cons both ways, right? She mentioned some of the things, and I can go down the list. I'm kind of looking at them now as far as you got one saying this, you know, in reference to abortion, one saying this against abortion. You got what they're saying about the policeman, where you got Trump basically indicating that if he gets in office, that there would be no more law, whereas the policemen would be arrested if they killed somebody, if they set up, and I can't breathe, like the George Floyd situation when he couldn't breathe. He says there won't be any more persecution against any policeman if they kill a person. There's no law. You can do whatever you want to do. There's no repercussions according to him, right? So you got pros and cons both ways with both parties. I think to the point that we're at now, it's not even about the actual pros and cons. And I like what Lady Betty said, a mouth, M-O-U-T-H, will say anything. And I like the way she phrased it. They'll say anything just to get what they want because they're trying to cater to the people. Yeah, absolutely. They're trying to cater to the people, but we are so far beyond that at this point that now we are really fighting for democracy. That's what we're fighting for.
Let me say this both for you. Let me just summarize. What do Republicans believe in? Now, their positions for that party have actually evolved over time. You know, from Reagan on down. Their positions have evolved. Currently, though, the party's fiscal conservatism, it includes support for lower taxes, gun rights, government conservatism, free market capitalism, free trade, deregulation of corporation, and restrictions of labor unions. Okay? So this is literally, you know, that's the typical agenda for them. Now, if you think about, you know, I know a little bit talk about the abortion and all that, the rights. Look at the way Roe v. Wade was overturned. Okay, but if we just look at what is the typical agenda for the Republican, that's the way they list it. Now, if you look at the typical agenda for the Democrats, you will notice that they are not, I mean, they are close, but they are actually different. And you may ask me, well, why? Well, people have always said that the Democrats, they give money to the what they call it? They give money to the poor people. They're always giving free money away. They want big government. The Democrats, they say, oh, they want abortion and all of it. all of this. But if you really look at the framework, the Democrats believe that they can make life better for families across the nation, not just for the wealthy, but for everybody. Okay, that's what they believe. And they want fairness, they want justice, they want equality for all by standing up for all middle-class Americans and those struggling to get that. That's what the Democrats stand for. They're also saying we don't need to legislate a woman's health. You don't need to legislate a woman's health. Let the woman and her doctor determines what happens to her body. If she want to have children, she don't want to have children. If she whatever, the government should not be controlling what happens to a man or a woman. They shouldn't, because every man, every woman has their own rights. When the government begins to dictate to us what we can eat, what we cannot eat, who we can marry, who we cannot marry, who can have a child, who cannot have a child, how many children you can have, then you're getting into a lot of things that may not stay the same way. You may just begin to expand. So the Democrats are saying it's not that they are for abortion per se, but they are saying the government should get out of legislating a woman's health issue. That is the, but when you hear it from the other side, oh, the Democrats are for abortion. Oh, the Democrats are for homosexuality and gays. No, the Democrats is saying the government needs to get out of legislating people's lives. Govern, but don't control people's lives. That's the main difference between them. Now let me ask you, Lady Betty. Yes, with sir. The values that I read out to you, which one stands out to you the most that will make you, support the Republicans? And then which one stand out the most to you that will make you want to support the Democrats? And that question goes for both of you.
Okay. Their views on laws. I believe that a lawless country is in a bad place. So I believe that laws should be set. And when they come in line with some of my beliefs, I'm more prone to go with that particular organization when they are following some strong beliefs that I do have. Another thing is some of the principles that Minister Yolanda ministered earlier about Kamala, is that her knowledge of the country, her knowledge of just being a prosecutor and understanding things about the country. So those are some of the things that would influence my decision.
Yeah, I mean, Minister Ford, Yolanda Ford, what do you think?
Well, I think from a Republican standpoint, one of their strongest stands has to do with immigration, right? Yes. Whereas they sit up and they talk about the immigration and
all that stuff,
they talk about that. So they stand strongly, heavily up on that point. When you think about the Democrats, I just think it's more, and I'm going back to my word, democracy, whereas you have more freedom of choice. Still having rules, still have guidelines. When I look at their views on abortion, and I like the way you mentioned that as far as giving that opportunity for choice, you know what I'm saying? Whereas the government should not have that power to be able to tell me one way or the other what I should do. Based upon my own beliefs, based upon my own principles, I should have a right to choose. You have some situations that according to the government, if you do it, then, you get penalized, you go to jail, they prison you if you do it, but they don't even understand what caused you to get to that place. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to choose between, for example, under the abortion, you have to choose between the life of the mother or the life of the child. Well, if you choose the life of the mother over the child, then you're subject to be persecuted or go to jail because you've now taken the life of a child. You know what I'm saying? So I think that they're from a democratic standpoint, that's what the Republicans lean upon from the Democrat is abortion. And I think from the Democratic to the Republican, they lean more upon just some of the, I'm gonna say cruelty that actually comes forth from the Republicans as far as, for example, like it was mentioned about the policeman, right? About the crime, about the difference in reference to just being able to, if I've got a badge, there's no law. I can do whatever I want to. You can't stop me. That, it's like, come on, you got to have some form of justice, because everybody that has a badge is not reasonable within their mindset that they can do some things just because I got a badge. It's just like, doesn't give you the right to mistreat people, mistreat humanity. It doesn't give you that right, but yet the Republicans indicate that if we get in office, this is what's going to happen. This is what we're going to put into place.
I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, I'm an independent. I vote based on my conscience. I vote looking at the qualification of the person that's running for office. Qualification. And I also look at their backgrounds, their morals. That's the way I decide who to vote for. Now, let me go to my live chat, right? Live chat. Hakeem 18, he says it definitely matters that the top of the ticket is a woman. Now, he also say, I disagree with Trump and the business he's standing on. He said, I did my homework since the last time I spoke to you, Mr. Bandel. Hakeem 18, me and Hakeem 18, we had a conversation, and his thing was, I don't want a woman as a president. My paycheck was better under ex-president. I just went on and on and on and on. And I said, now, you all are talking out of ignorance. Number one, the Constitution of the United States allow any man or woman that's over 35, that's a citizen, born citizen of the United States, to be able to run for presidency. Now, you can be a criminal and still run for presidency. Just like the former President Trump, literally, he was convicted 34 times. He's a felon. He's a felon, and he's running for the presidency of the United States, the highest office. And I look at that, and I'm going, okay, he was convicted as a felon, but a felon cannot even work in the White House. They cannot be in the military. They cannot work at the bank, but they can be the president of the United States. That is something that's strange to me. That's number one. Number two, I kept thinking about the experience. Former President Trump has a 4-year experience being the president of the United States. But that's the only experience that he has. He was a businessman, but then, he has the experience being the president for 4 years. But Kamala Harris, in my opinion, has a whole lot more experience. Lot more experience because of her. She went to law school. She got a law degree. She was a prosecutor. She was a district attorney. She was an attorney general for a state. She was a congresswoman and a vice president of the United States. Okay? And I'm going, she has a lot of experience to be able to take this nation to the next level. President Trump has 4-year experience also to be able to take the country to the next level. So, to me, we got both people that are qualified. But Hakeem 18, if you can call me on 713, Hakeem 18, call me on 713-777-5000, and I will bring you on board to tell my viewers what you have learned in the past 4 weeks. Hakeem, the number to call is 713-777-5000. 713-777-5000. Any one of you that want to call us also, you can call, and I will put you, online with us. I have Jay Myers. We as believers complain about the rainbow community, but we vote for people who support, make it make sense. Very good question. So Jay Myers is saying, we as believers, as Christians, we complain about, it's a rainbow community, but I think what he's talking about is the LGBTQ. I think that's what he's talking about, the rainbow community, LGBTQ, that we complain about the same-sex marriage and all that. But then he said, make it make sense. Why will you vote for people that support homosexuality, that support gay rights and all that? Let me throw the question to Minister Yolanda Ford and then to Lady Betty. That is somebody online asking this question, Jay Myers. Go ahead.
Yeah, so when you think about, you say they're supporting, I think again, it goes back to, you got pros and cons both ways, but from a Democratic standpoint, I think that's where you're coming from, in reference to that, it's really about, they're giving rights, right? They're basically trying to respect the rights of humanity. Again, you've got pros and cons both ways, and if that's what you're looking at, then it's like, okay, you got to choose, right? In this thing that we're in, you got to choose. So I hear a lot of people say,
okay, go ahead, keep talking. I'm going to get, let me get Lady Betty in. I've got one of my viewers on the line with us, but let me get Lady Betty's view before I bring him on.
Oh, Lord, Pastor, my mind is on how America was under a dictatorship and how they
America under a dictatorship?
Wait, hold on. Hear me out, Pastor. That's why we got the 4th of July, where America got their independence. They wanted to be separated from England because the leader of England was a dictator. So they did a declaration. They had to do a declaration declaring that they wanted to be free from under this dictatorship. This is why we celebrate the 4th of July, when America got its independence, when it separated from England, right?
From Great Britain.
From Great Britain.
From Great Britain.
Yes. Okay. All right. So they wanted to separate because they didn't want to be under dictatorship. So now when America became its own individual, they wrote a constitution that doesn't say we the president, it says we the people. And they have not allowed one human being to be the source of what goes on in America.
All right, thank you, Lady Betty. I don't want to go away from the question that I asked, which is the thing about lesbianism and gay. Where my viewer asked the question. I'm going to put Jay Myers on. With Jay Myers, you are on my program. Welcome to What's Going On. Jay Myers, go ahead. Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah.
Okay. So your view is, okay, turn your stuff down. Sometimes we don't have a feedback. Jay Myers, so your view is this: if a party is for same-sex marriage, right? But the party creates jobs, creates safety, get the country to go in the right direction, you won't take them just because they have the right, they're given the rights to same-sex marriage. And then on the other side, if you have a party that say, we are against same-sex marriage, but if you are Black, you're a low-class citizen. And if you are poor, we don't need to give you money. Go get your own. We ain't helping you nothing. So you have to look at all the agenda before you make a decision. But if somebody is making a decision on just one agenda, then I will now vote for the party that's for same-sex marriage because it goes against my Christian belief.
Now that's just the second thing. I'm just going to be honest, is because I felt very disrespected about how she treated African nations her job was to bridge that gap. And what she did was she went over there offering $30 and telling them how to allow a certain. When the African countries didn't need that, they needed infrastructure, they needed other things. So when you see African countries starting to side with Russia and China, it's because they meet the needs of those people. I feel like the Democratic Party is trying to push an agenda. They're using that agenda to replace Black people. I feel like even with the migrant crisis, there shouldn't be a reason why there's thousands of dollars spent on food stamps and housing for people who don't pay taxes while we're dealing with inflation. So you got to really make it.
Oh, he's talking about the immigration.
Last question. I just want people to think about how their lives were when Trump was in office and how your lives changed instantly when Biden got in office.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Jay Myers. We thank you for that view. We thank you for calling on our program tonight. We'll keep the nation in prayer. We appreciate your views and appreciate what you have to say about the same-sex marriage that's against the Christian core beliefs, and also the way you felt about the way Kamala Harris treated some African nations. Thank you very much for calling on our program tonight. God bless you. All right, family. Okay, let's Hakeem 18. That wasn't Hakeem 18 that called, but I don't know if he's scared to call or what. But anyway, Hakeem 18 has some comments. Let me ask Lady Betty, what is the system of government in the United States?
What do you mean by that, Pastor? What is the system?
Yeah, what is the governmental, the system that Americans use for their government?
I'm not certain how to answer that question. Maybe you could go to Minister Yolanda.
Mr. Ford, what is the system of government in the United States?
The system we use is the democratic system for voting, that everyone has a right to be able to, everyone has a voice.
The system is democracy, okay? Now, because the system is democracy, if the system was a theocracy system of government, I will have an issue with all of these things that my viewer just mentioned. But because America is not a theocracy, theocracy is a country that is a Christian country per se. Or a country that only serves one God, like Israel. Israel, the biblical Israel operated under a theocracy for a long time. It was the rules of God that governed them. But in America, you cannot say because you are a Christian, you're going to put your right over other people. That is not democracy. Democracy say you have the right to your religion. You have right as a human. This is what they ran from when the founders of the United States of America, when they came together, they ran away from that tyranny, from that dictatorship, telling me what religion I can practice, who I can marry, what I can do. They ran from that to form a democracy. In America, America is not a Christian nation. I'm sorry. Some of the Constitution was based on biblical values. I understand that. But as far as America, you have Muslims in America. You have Hindus in America. You got Satanists in America. You got Buddhists in America. So you cannot put the values of Christianity on everybody that lives in America. And this is why people, but you're a pastor. Yes, I'm a pastor. Yes, I'm a Christian. But America is not a Christian nation. America has several religions that are represented here.
That's good, Pastor.
You can just put your, can you imagine if we elect a Muslim president and they want to turn the country into a Muslim nation? I mean, you need to put yourself in that position. Let's just say we elect a president that's a Buddhist. And now This president is want to force every American, Christian, Muslim, to become Buddhists. It's going to be chaos. But the Christians, especially the white evangelicals, they want to make it look like America is a Christian nation. America is not a Christian nation. So let's get it straight. I am a Christian, but in America, you got Muslims that have rights, human rights. You got Buddhists that have human rights. You got Jehovah's Witnesses that have human rights. You got all these religions that have rights in America. So for you to say, well, because my value as a Christian is against homosexuality, then I got to go against everybody else in America. Well, no, it don't work that way. And this is why we have to be careful, because it can come a day where a Muslim man, a strong Muslim man, becomes the president of the United States. And then what you're going to do when it says every American got to go to Mecca once in your lifetime? You got to pray, 5 times a day. You got to fast during the Ramadan season. Wants to turn America into a Muslim nation. There's going to be an outcry. So there should be an outcry right now for people trying to put their Christian belief and rights over everybody. That is not what the country was based on. Lady Betty, what is your view about that?
Pastor, you have made some great points, and you take me back to what you said in the beginning. Going back to the Bible, I want to stress that I'm going to the Word of God. There was a time that God was the only leader, the only king, the only president that men were serving, and they desired dictatorship, and God told them what would actually happen. But we're in a new dispensation where God is saying, when the wicked rule, the people are troubled. But when the righteous rule, the people are at peace. So in other words, God has told his church. I used to always wonder why God set the church here, and why did he tell the church to pray for his kingdom come and his will to be done on earth as it is in heaven? And why did he declare that the earth is his and the fullness thereof, and all of us that dwell in it, and tells us that we are fellow laborers with him? So understanding that God wants to rule in the kingdom of man, that God wants his kingdom to come, because you all stress that all of these men have issues. You look at the Democrats, they have issues. You look at the Republicans, they have issues. So anytime we're looking to man, there will always be issues. But when we begin as the church, the Bible believing people, to pray for God's kingdom to come and God's will to be done on earth as it is in heaven, because that is what God wants.
All right. Minister Ford, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm totally agreeing with what Sister basically is saying. You set up and you think about the pros and cons on both ends. You got pros both ways, right? But when you have a situation where you have an individual, like you were talking about earlier, that just wants to be able to release their views upon the entire America. In other words, they've already proclaimed, I want to be a dictator. They've already proclaimed on day one, I will be a dictator. They've already proclaimed on day one how they're going to bring down the Constitution. They've already proclaimed.
Do you have something to back that? You got something to back your claim? Give me the book, the chapter, and the verse.
We'd have to go to the YouTube, but it's been so much being stated.
I believe I have a video that Hakeem was supposed to, my AV team supposed to prepare for me. They're going to play that video right now.
Okay, good deal. Thank you, Pastor.
Yeah, I give them the video. They're going to play the video right now. And then because we don't want to just put words out there. We want to see what you are talking about. I know somebody sent me this video, and so hopefully everybody can see that video. Can you all see it? Shake your head.
We can see it.
All right, they're going to play it. Go ahead and play. Let me get some sound. Thank you, AV team.
Election, most important election ever. We want a landslide that's too big to rig. If you want to save America, get your friends, get your family, get everyone you know, and vote. Vote early. vote absentee, vote on election day. I don't care how, but you have to get out and vote. And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
Thank you, my AV team. Now, Yolanda, Betty, you all heard the videos. So I'm going to ask Lady Betty to talk first about that video. What do you think about what you just heard?
It's a great message. I believe it's true that the part that Christians should come out and make a decision. It's going to be hard to make a decision, being that you have what you all just spoke about, positives on both sides, negatives on both sides. But I think it's a great thing that he's appealing to the Christian community to come out and vote. Now, whether or not he knows whether or not that it's going to be different within 4 years, I'm of the persuasion to judge no matter before it's time. And if God has given other people knowledge and wisdom about this, let them go ahead and speak, because every word
that's good. Thank you. I just want to say that's good. Now, you see how, okay, let me tell you what I got from that video. What I got from that video is, okay, you're Christians, go vote. We're going to turn America into a Christian nation. You'll go vote. But what I hear is, after I get in, there ain't no more election anymore. You ain't got to vote no more. This is what I got from that video, that, you know, after this election, if I win, you will never have to vote again.
He made a comment.
I'll be the dictator. Sister Yolanda, Minister Ford, what do you think about that video? What do you get from that video?
He said, he started off saying, I want to save America. I want to save America. And the way we're going to save America, because right now he's speaking to Christians, he's speaking to some conservative Christians. That's the audience. So he's saying, Christians, I need you to get out and vote. If you don't do anything else, I need you to vote, and you won't have to vote anymore. In other words, I'm going to take away your voting rights. I'm going to fix it. He also told him, if you listen to it again, he said, I'm not a Christian. He said, but Christians, I need you to vote. And when you vote, don't worry about it. You won't have to do it again, because once he gets in office, he's going to fix it where you will never have to vote again. So you're talking about democracy here. You're talking about dictatorship here. And there is a big difference, which outweighs everything else, when you have one person that want to come forth and be a dictator for the whole United States of America. He said, just put me in there. He's talking about what he's going to take down. He's talking about what he's going to do. You know, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth will speak. You better believe him.
All right.
Did he say he was not a Christian?
Let me go.
Did I listen to it again?
Go listen to it again. Yeah, this is why I tell people to listen. Do more listening than talking, and you can hear between the lines what people are saying. Let me go online. Let me go to my guest tonight. I've got Mrs. Roberts. What Jeremiah is saying is true. Mrs. Roberts, I'm keeping individuals under government control. Okay, well, that's a view that everybody needs to be under the government control. Jeremiah, we still got to vote, though. I agree with you, Jeremiah, or everybody got to vote. Vote your conscience. Everybody needs to vote. Mrs. Roberts said, true, Jeremiah. Jeremiah said he never heard that, so I played the video so that everybody can hear that.
It's on YouTube. Go to Google. You know Google, Mr. Google.
I tell you what. You know what I'm going to do. You know what I'm going to do, just to help everybody out. I am going to put the link to that video. I'm going to pin it to the top of my. Okay, you all hold on.
You know what?
Hold on, Minister Ford. I'm about to pin that to. All right, hold on. All right. I just pinned. I pinned the video, so everybody go. You can go watch the video yourself. so that
You know,
it won't be he say, she say stuff. Go watch the video yourself so that you'll know what we are talking about. All right.
Pastor.
Hakeem has a question for me. Let me go ahead and attend to my viewers. I really appreciate all of them joining me tonight. I don't want them to think that we are ignoring them. I want to at least give them an opportunity. I've got Jay Myers. He gonna fix these gas prices. Okay, Jay
he's going to
Myers
do
said-
more than fix gas prices.
okay,
He's going to do
Donald
more
Trump,
than that.
he said Donald Trump is going to fix these gas prices. He's going to fix this inflation. That's what I heard. That's not what he's done, but that's what he heard. That Donald Trump going to bring the gas. When he wins, the gas price is going to go down. Inflation going to go down. Hakeem Etin, when somebody show you who they are, believe them. That's where I am.
Thank you.
That's where I am.
Thank
Mrs.
you.
Roberts, we need to study the platform of both the Democratic and Republican parties, and our eyes will be open. My eyes are as open as they will ever be. My eyes are wide open. I'm not ignorant, like majority of Americans are ignorant. They have no clue what their parties stand for. They have no clue about the Constitution of the United States. They have no clue how the government runs. They just blah, 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 blah. My eyes are opened. Before I became the citizen of the United States, I have to pass a major exam to know that I know the laws, the rules of the land, the way the government runs. I had to learn that. Many Americans didn't even have to learn that. They were born here, the Americans. They were just born here. I mean, some things that I know that many Americans that are citizens don't even know. And sometimes I kind of look at them that they got a silver spoon in their mouth. And they never learn. And then they complain about foreigners coming to America and getting ahead. They're getting ahead because they learn the system. You learn the system as an American. We thank you for allowing us to come in your country, but learn your system and don't be ignorant. You know, you got to learn. So as far as knowing what the parties stand for, I know what both parties stand for. I know it. As far as looking at the credentials of both former President Trump and the credentials of Kamala Harris, I have studied them. As far as what are Christian values with the Republicans and what are Christian values with the Democrats, I have studied all of that. So, you know, the Republicans, yeah, they're against this, you know, abortion rights. They're against all of these rights that they feel like it's not Christian values. Again, I'm going to tell you right now, America is not a Christian nation. Yes, I'm a Christian. Yes, you are a Christian. But there are Muslims here. There are Hindus here. There are Buddhists here. If you want to make America a Christian nation, then you kick out every other religion. Then we can talk. Until then, everybody, you need to put up and shut up, because America, as a democracy, they allowed you freedom of religion. And you cannot take that freedom away. You can't say, because I'm a Christian, I'm going to take the freedom of the Muslims away. You cannot do that. Or the Muslims try to take the rights of the Muslims away. You cannot do that. America foundation is you have the freedom of speech, freedom of, you know, of government, freedom of religion. You are free. If you want to serve a rock in America, you are free to serve a rock. If you want to serve iron, a god of iron, you are free. You've got the freedom. You got the freedom to carry on. I mean, that is in the Constitution. You have the freedom, you know, to be armed. You have the freedom to speak your mind. You have the freedom to practice your religion. You have the freedom to marry whoever you want to marry. America is not a Christian nation. So we need to get back to that, so that we don't alienate other Americans because I'm a Christian. But I would be upset if the Muslims try to alienate me as a Christian because they are Muslim and the president is a Muslim. We're not going to do that. So we just need to understand, once you set some things in motion, it's hard to pull it back. Just because Christians are ruling right now, what happens if a Buddhist man becomes president of the United States? What you going to do? Now, everybody got to be Buddhist now. We got to use Buddhist law. You cannot do that. This is the United States of America. And the Constitution says I have a right to practice whatever religion I want to practice. I have the right to marry whoever I want to marry. I have the right to speak whatever I want to speak. You can take those rights away just because you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, you're a Hindus. That's all I'm saying. So, Mrs. Roberts, I'm talking about the history of both parties, how and why they were formed. Okay, Hakeem 18, I heard he's going to change the way that everybody vote. This man has always said what he means and mean what he says. This is a direct message to Christian. He said what he said. Thank you, Hakeem 18. Mrs. Roberts, the platform of both these parties, if studied, neither one mentions about Christianity. Ms. Roberts, you got to go study that again. Because literally they are saying the white evangelicals are the ones that are pushing the envelopes. The white evangelicals are the ones pushing all these envelopes. So go study that. The same white evangelicals that prophesied that Trump was going to win the election in 2020. All the prophecy, they heard from God. Their God is who I call my devil. Because if God spoke to all of your prophets and prophetess in 2020 that President Trump was going to win the election and he didn't win, who is a liar, you or God? And please, don't give me that hogwash. You got all of these people prophesying. Oh, they heard from God. They heard clear from God. So do you hear from God? And God was just a liar. Well, let me just tell you, you are a liar. God will be true and you are a liar. You did not hear from God. Okay? This is why you have to be careful when you start putting God in what you are saying, when you know you didn't hear from God. This is why people don't trust the church anymore. And we got to be careful with that. When you start using what you think and what you feel to say that is God. And then, oh, well, I think it was rigged. You think you can rig anything? If God wanted President Trump to win, I don't care what none of you all say. If God had to reign and wipe everybody out, he'll wipe everybody out. So don't, you see, God gives men the will to choose, okay? God gives men the will to choose. But when you start bringing religion into the government of man by man, you start saying God said this one should be elected. The Bible says God sets up one and puts on another. Do you believe the Bible that you are even reading? Do you really believe the Bible you are reading? Because if you feel like God is true and God is all powerful, oh, it's not powerful enough to put President Trump in 2020? Come on, let's be for real and stop fooling ourselves. All right, Jay Myers. So what's not a Christian nation and what do with your Christian vote? What is it to do with your Christian vote? Okay, so what I don't understand this question. What it's not.
That's good, Pastor.
What are you going to do with your Christian vote? I'm a Christian, but I'm not voting for a Christian.
That's good. That's good.
I'm a Christian. I love Jesus Christ. I'm a man of God. Okay? I don't believe in living in sin. I don't believe in homosexuality. I don't believe in stealing. I don't believe in abusing women. I don't believe in using witchcraft to control other people. I don't believe in all that. Okay, God did not put me in charge of everybody else. God puts me in charge of me. Where am I going to spend eternity? Where am I going to spend eternity? Now, where everybody going to spend eternity? Yeah, I'm preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ. But it doesn't mean everybody going to hear it. And if everybody hears it, doesn't mean everybody going to accept it. Many are called, but few are chosen. So all we can do as Christians is live the life. But when it comes to, for instance, they're saying, okay, people saying, well, the Democrats are giving money away to all of these lazy bums. See, it's easy to say until you find yourself in a place where you need our help. That's all I'm going to say. Hakeem 18, no such thing as a Christian vote.
No such thing.
That's a Christian vote.
Wow.
My ballot or your ballot will have the same name. Oh, I agree with Hakeem 18. You can say wow all you want. This is a man that's thinking. I agree with him. There ain't no Christian vote. There's no Christian vote. There's no Muslim vote. Let's not fool ourselves.
So true. So true.
So I totally agree with Hakeem 18. This is a young man that's thinking. And they didn't write Christian or Muslim on my vote. So thank you very much for that comment, Hakeem 18. Your ballot will have the same names on there. My ballot won't have Christian on there either. That's right. I'm a Christian and I'm voting for that sound like a Christian voter. Jeremiah said he's going to be a Christian voter and vote for Christian. He has a Christian ballot, I guess. All right. My time is kind of up tonight. I tell you what, we're going to continue this conversation. We'll continue this conversation next week. I want to thank all of you. Your views matter. Okay, your views matter. But do not put your freedom of religion over other people. You can preach the gospel. Okay, just like Jehovah's Witness, they come to preach to me. Muslims talk to me to be a Muslim. Everybody got a freedom of religion, but let's not turn the election into a religion. The election is not about religion. The election is about who are you going to put in government to run the nation with the Congress. And also, see, even with the government, you got three branches. You have the executive, you have you'll help me. The executive is the president and vice president, and then you have the legislative that makes the law, right? Then you have judicial. Thank you very much. That does interpretation of that law. So it's three branches of the government. But when you have one person say, hey, you're not gonna have election anymore. You are looking at, you are really bothering on wanting to be another Putin or one of those dictators that want to rule the country. I don't want to hear from anybody. I run the country. You ain't got to vote. Anyway, well, I will vote twice again. Mrs. Roberts, you can only vote once. I'm sorry. I voted twice in the last election. How you vote twice? Did you rig the election? You only got one ballot to vote for the president. Anyway, I don't know what she's talking about. Thank you, everybody, for joining me tonight. I love you all. Thank you. This is a great conversation. Great conversation. I'm going to give Lady Betty about 1 minute to give us our closing statements. I'm going to give Sister Yolanda, Minister Ford, 1 minute to give a closing statement, and then we're going to get offline. We'll see you again next week. We're going to continue the conversation. Lady Betty, go ahead.
I just want everyone to consider the spirit of deception and the church. And, they used to say that church and state was separate. The church values are so different from the secular system values. And I think the church needs to reconsider some things when we understand that our value systems are so different.
Thank you very much, Lady Betty. Minister Yolanda Ford.
I think about the lack of knowledge, men shall perish. And it amazes me, it behooves me how some people had never seen the video that you shared. When it's been all over the news, playing over and over and over, and they look at it like this is the first time they ever heard that, right? Again, lack of knowledge, men shall perish. You sit up and you think about this party that basically stands up on the word mega, M-A-G-A, make America great again. And then they come back and say they want to save America. And the way I'm going to save America is that I'm going to be that dictatorship. I'm going to be that person that's going to be able to tell everybody what I want them to do, be it right or wrong, be it you agree or don't agree. I'm going to save America. And we really have to educate ourselves. We really do. And look at the whole picture. Because again, I will say that this is not an ordinary race. This is not an ordinary election. We are fighting for democracy. We're fighting to be able to have a voice. We are fighting to be able to stand up. And like you say, freedom of speech, freedom of rights, freedom. You have that right, freedom to vote. You have a right. But when you have a person stand up and blatantly say that you will never have to vote again, think about what you're doing. Think about, just the holistic picture that you're going to allow one person to come in and be able to take away what you have a right to do. So yes, get out and vote, but educate yourself. Please educate yourself.
Thank you, Minister Ford. We're going to continue this conversation on next week. I know we're not going to be able to do it in 1 week. We may go 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. But this is good conversation to have, though. everybody watching me tonight. It's a great conversation to have. We don't hate one another. We are all human race. And we are talking about the election 2024 for the presidency of the United States of America. The candidates are Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. And one of them is going to win. One of them is going to lead the nation. But we need to just have facts and not throwing out jargons and all that stuff without really thinking and understanding what is going on. And don't be bewitched. Don't be bewitched. Don't be controlled. Don't just think. Just think and vote your conscience. Whatever you do, get out and vote. But be educated. Make an informed decision. And Mrs. Roberts Connor, Jeremiah said, you're going to jail. If you voted twice in 20, you are one of those that Donald Trump was talking about. How in the world did you get to vote twice? You're going to jail. So you better, she said she's sending a mail-in ballot and then she go back and vote again. I don't know how that happened. But anyway, Jeremiah said for me to send you a message that you're going to jail after this show. Well, family, I thank you for joining me tonight. I thank my AV team, Brother Joshua and Brother Key. I thank them for their help tonight. Everyone joining us. We're going to meet again on next week. Well, until next week, Thursday, on this same channel, YouTube and Facebook, on our program, What's Going On? This is yours truly, Pastor Aki Bandele. I love you. Good night, everyone.